Do you ever get the feeling like there's something missing from your hikes? Like there's some sort of secret that those more experienced hikers just aren't telling you? Well, today we are uncovering some of the most underrated skills out on the track that most people don't talk about. You don't necessarily find these skills in guidebooks, but they'll definitely make your next adventure a little bit smoother and way more enjoyable. Hi everyone, Mauser here, and for those of you that don't know me, well, I've been hiking here in Tasmania and all over the place for over 30 years. And as a former hiking guide and now a dad of 4 young adventurers, I've picked up a fair few tricks along the way. And today we are talking about hiking skills that you won't necessarily see in other places, but they're essential. We are diving into those underrated skills that could really elevate your hiking experience. Now, whether you are a beginner or an experienced hiker, these tips are going to help you hike smarter, not harder. Let's jump straight into it. First up, the power of patience. Now, hiking isn't just about speed or reaching your destination as quickly as possible. Well, it's not for me anyway, and it's not for a lot of people out there. Sure, if you're in a race or something, that's fine. I digress. But hiking just isn't about speed and getting to your destination as quickly as possible. It's about the journey itself. Now, while it may be tempting to push hard, especially when you have kids in tow who just want to get to that next campsite, patience is a critical skill on the trail. It allows you to find a sustainable pace, prevent potential burnout, and truly just take in the beauty of the place you are in and the sights that are around you. By slowing down, you'll not only conserve energy for the long haul, but you may even get just a chance to spot some wildlife, navigate tricky terrain a bit better, and overall have a much more enjoyable experience. So I hear you asking, how can we cultivate this patience you speak of on the trail, especially when you've got people just wanting to get there? Well, it starts with mindset. Focus on each step rather than just rushing to the finish line. Take in some deep breaths, soak in the surroundings, and just make brief stops to hydrate or snack without breaking your rhythm. This approach helps you stay steady, in tune with your body, and fully immersed in the experience. And if you have kids or young people or people wanting to just get to that next campsite, encourage them to focus on the surroundings and the environment they're in and enjoy the hike as an adventure rather than just a race to the next campsite. And if that doesn't work, well, good luck. But I have some games that I sometimes have in my head to play on the trail. Things that look for rocks that are a certain shape, the shape of Tasmania, whoever can find the best rock that is the shape of Tasmania today, stuff like that, the shape of Australia, whatever. Come up with little games that will pass the time as you hike along, especially when people are struggling. That is a great little tip as well. Next underrated hiking skill that you may not necessarily have heard of before anywhere else is energy management, or what I like to call the tortoise technique. Now, I don't know if this has been used before, this term, but I call it the tortoise technique. And this is a skill that's all about energy management. Many hikers, especially people just starting out in their hiking journey, beginners, that type of person, can start too fast, go out too hard, and then burn out very quickly. The key to avoiding this is finding your sustainable pace and sticking to it. And this really comes into play, especially in those uphill sections where you've got a big climb, followed by a drop, followed by a climb. You've got to find your pace that you are comfortable with and that you can maintain. And if you're new to this, if you're not sure what to do, then what I have done in the past with people is how I sort of treat running when I am training with running. And that is to start to hike at a pace where you can hold a conversation, and especially holding a conversation without running out of breath, especially when you're going uphill. Now, you're probably going to feel slow at first, but I find that in the long haul, you will cover more ground, you'll be taking less breaks, and you're going to feel better at the end of the day. I think it's a really good thing to practice, is to figure out your pace, figure out how fast you can walk or what distance you can cover in an hour, and sort of try and stick to that. Obviously that will change as you go up and down hills and up and down mountains, but after a bit of practice with the tortoise technique, you'll sort of figure out your pace and how far you can cover in a day. And it's a really handy thing to be able to do when you're planning bigger walks. So try that when you're out on your next training walk or your next training run. Just hold that pace where you can maintain a conversation without running out of breath. Next up, let's talk about the power of silence. Now, this is something I love to do, is when I'm out on a walk, when we're on a trail, is to, at some points along the way, when it's safe to do so, is separate out a bit, have a couple of minutes between each person, and really take in the silence of the trail as you're walking along. And what I do find is that silence on the trail does more than just keep you in tune with the nature around you. It kind of sharpens your senses. It makes you more aware of wildlife as well as the changing conditions. I was doing this little skill, this little scenario last month when I was out in Tasmania's overland track in winter here, and I was just in my own little world. I was well apart from my hiking buddies who I was with, and I was hiking along the trail in my own little world, just listening, and I heard something, turned around, and there's a massive wombat right in front of me on the trail. And I just stopped. I was walking in silence, stopped in silence, and we just stood and looked at each other for a couple of minutes. It was fantastic, and it wouldn't have happened if we'd been in a big group, all talking, all, yahooing along the trail. It was just one of those moments, a special moment on the trail in the silence where I was able to sort of engage with the wildlife around me. And that was really nice. But in addition to, interactions with wildlife and that sort of thing, when you're in those moments like I was there, you're just walking along and it gives you time to reflect, to think about things, think about life. And it really makes the hike feel a little bit more personal and a bit more rewarding. So how can you integrate the power of silence into your hikes? Well, you can start, if you're in a group, just try practicing not talking for a while. Just walk in a bit of silence for a little bit. Make sure your phones are turned off. Listen to your footsteps, listen to the wind in the trees, listen to the bird life around you, the wind on the mountaintops. And I definitely find that when you sort of practice this once you're out there and you just listen to those sounds, that connection you get to the environment around you can definitely make the hike feel more grounded and immersive. So give it a try. Next up, and it's an important skill, and that is navigation without gadgets. Now, I'm the first person to always have their phone out, navigating, checking stuff out, have my GPS device out, have my InReach device out, and those devices are great. I love them. Until they potentially die or lose signal or something happens. And while that isn't that common an occurrence, learning how to navigate with a map and compass is still pretty crucial, especially when you are in very remote areas like I travel to quite often. And in those areas, we are always carrying a map and a compass with us, and we know how to use them. So as long as we know how to read them and use them, it's going to not only keep us safe, but it gives us a bit of an extra layer of confidence if something goes wrong. Now, I'm from the old school of 30 or more years ago when all we used to use was a map and a compass. So it's pretty much second nature to myself and a lot of my friends. But how can you start improving your navigation skills? Well, just start small. Get a map of a local trail near your house, a reserve, somewhere like that, and just practice using it as you hike. Watch a few YouTube videos, there's plenty of good tutorials out there. Pay attention to landmarks around you, how they relate to the map and where you are on the map. And over time, as you practice this dark art of map reading, you will start to develop an intuitive sense of direction. And it can definitely make a difference when technology fails, and even when you are out on the trail and the technology is working. And it is fun sometimes when you are out on the trail to just pull the map out and have a bit of fun and do some navigation the old school way. It will make a world of difference if the technology ever fails on you. Next, let's talk about mental resilience. Now, hiking isn't just a physical challenge, it is a mental one as well. When you are cold, wet, exhausted, you've been walking for 8, 9, 10 hours that day, it is the mental resilience that will get you through. It's about pushing past that discomfort you may be feeling, focusing on your goal and staying calm in stressful situations, and knowing when you need to make important decisions and not have it clouded by your goals or objectives. And this is definitely a skill that is developed over time, but it does make a huge difference when you start heading out into those longer hikes, those tougher hikes. And it is certainly what helps me on those really tough days now. And well, how do you build mental resilience? Start by setting small achievable goals for your hike. Focus on what is directly in front of you rather than the entire distance. And over time, you'll build confidence in your ability to handle whatever the trail throws at you. And if you want to learn more about the mental techniques that I use when I'm out on the trail, then check out this video where I go right into them all.